Hello everyone, and welcome to my video essay on Mass Effect. Mass Effect 1 was a bit of a rough sketch. The clunky combat mechanics and laid-back graphics were not so appealing, but it was all overshined by the rock-solid storytelling, impactful decision-making mechanics, and first-class world-building and a cast of compelling characters. Mass Effect 2, on the other hand, is in my book a masterpiece. To put it simple, the developers used everything that made the first game great while simultaneously improving everything that was not. Now the cast was bigger than ever, as were the mission stakes. On a personal note, Mass Effect 2 is likely my favorite game of all time, and that is definitely because of the strong narrative. Mass Effect 3. This game is very special and very controversial to talk about. Its combat had been perfected at this point. Your character now felt fast and agile, which added a layer of intensity to the whole thing. The quality storytelling still held up from Mass Effect 2. But what makes this particular game so controversial is the last 10 minutes, the very ending. But we'll talk more about that later. In order for you to understand the story, let me recap the events of Mass Effect 1 as compressed as possible. In the future, humanity discovers ancient alien technology on Mars. This leaps our science decades forward and enable us to travel through the stars until we discover other sentient species. Fast forward a few decades and humanity are starting to gain a foothold within the galactic politics. Humanity pushes to get a human elected as a Spectre, which is basically a combination of a Jedi and James Bond. This job has so much perks, you can basically get away with anything you want as long as it accomplishes your mission. The Spectres work for the Council, the alien triumvirate who makes all the political decisions. Enter Commander Shepard, a human special forces commando who is a candidate for the Spectres. After a rogue agent named Saren Arturius attacks a human colony, it is up to Shepard to expose Saren to the Council. That is the premise for the first act. Now, gameplay-wise, they are third-person shooter RPGs with elements from both Star Wars and Blade Runner, all set in a science fiction action-adventure novel. First, there is the reputation scale, which informs the player which side of the moral code he or she is on. Paragon being good, Renegade being bad. For example, during a dialogue, you can choose between a variety of options, some being kinder and more diplomatic, the other being direct and confrontational. It is up to the player to decide which, since either has massive consequences. In other words, will you be the all-inspiring hero who won't cut corners and always puts others before himself? Or will you be the intimidating maverick who always gets the job done, no matter the cost?
You got anything you want to say to the crew? Now's the time.
This is Commander Shepard speaking.
We have our orders. Find Saren before he finds the conduit. I won't lie to you, crew. This mission isn't going to be easy.
For too long, our species has stood apart from the others.
Now it's time for us to step up and do our part for the rest of the galaxy. Time to show them what humans are made of.
Our enemy knows we're coming.
When we go into the Traverse, Saren's followers will be waiting for us. But we'll be ready for them, too.
Humanity needs to do this.
Not just for our own sake, but for the sake of every other species in Citadel space. Saren must be stopped. And I promise you all, we will stop him.
Well said, Commander. Captain would be proud.
The captain gave up everything so I could have this chance. We can't fail.
Yes, sir. It's open. If you got anything you want to say to the crew, now's the time.
Listen up, Normandy. This is your commander speaking. We have our orders. Find Saren before he finds the conduit, and I refuse to let anything get in the way of that mission. The Council wants to ignore this. That's no surprise. They never helped us in the past, no reason they'd start now. But we don't need their help. We can do this on our own. Wherever Saren goes, we'll follow. Wherever he searches for the conduit, we'll be there. We will hunt him to the very ends of the galaxy and bring him down. None of the other species has the guts, grit, or balls to deal with this. So it's up to us. We're the only ones who can stop Saren. I swear to you all, we will stop him.
Well said, Commander. Captain will be proud.
Fancy speeches won't stop Saren from finding the conduit. If we really want to make the captain proud, we better get this bird in the air.
Yes, ma'am.
The consequences are one of the game's most appealing features. If you're put in a scenario in Mass Effect 1 where you have to choose between saving hostages or shooting the bad guy, should you choose to save the hostages and letting the bad guy get away, could come back and bite you in the ass in Mass Effect 3, since all of your decisions carry over. As for the combat mechanics of the game, as mentioned earlier, it is a third-person shooter with real-time strategy elements. The player, of course, takes control of Shepard, while 2 of Shepard's crewmates can accompany him on missions. These companions can be issued orders on where to go and which enemy to attack. RPG elements factor in here as well, since the inventory system is very traditional, where you would have one inventory for the current weapons you're carrying, and one inventory for all the new ones you find in the field. Later games pretty much removed this system altogether, leaving only your equipment inventory, changing it so that you can only exchange your equipment at the start of a mission instead of right in the middle of one. Say that you find a weapon in the field in Mass Effect 1 that has better stats than the one you're currently carrying, you can simply hop into your inventory menu and swap them out. But in Mass Effect 2 they changed it so that if you find a weapon in the field, you would have to complete the mission first, then return to the Normandy only to equip it for the next mission. This was wildly disliked among the fans, since inventory management is a large part of RPG games. This was an indicator that the games were moving in a new direction. Not necessarily a bad one, but different all the same. Let's have a look at some of the characters you meet along the way. There is Jeff Joker Monroe, who pilots your ship and often comes with sarcastic commentary, therefore his nickname. There is Captain Anderson, the go-to mentor character voiced by Keith Richards. There is Garrus Vakarian, a former CSEC police officer, Talizora, a Quarian nomad with incredible technical skills, and Erdnot Rex, the Krogan bounty hunter, just to mention a few. But this is just to give you an example of how colorful the cast is. And that is pretty much everything I had to say without going into further detail in the story, and I wouldn't want to do that since I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't experienced this game yet. And I sincerely urge you to do so. It is my favorite game of all time for a reason. If you are interested, immerse yourself into this world. You would not regret it. Thank you guys so much for watching part 1 of my Mass Effect documentary. In the next part, I will be talking a little bit about why the Mass Effect 3 ending doesn't work. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.